Hello mouses! I want to start today's show by showing you this tweet, which is from someone I follow called Amanda, and she's talking about some anti-choiceists in Texas. Now, I don't know whether this is true or whether it's a rumour going around, but if it is true, my goodness, this is, as she says, it is kidnapping. You can't pose as someone who is there as a volunteer to get people to abortion clinics and then take them to a church instead, because kidnapping, as anyone would know, is the seizure and transfer of a person either by force or by fraud. Now, by force, probably not. They're probably not forcing people into cars and taking them to a church. But through fraud, definitely. Posing as someone who takes people to abortion clinics to give them a bit of help and then taking them to a church instead, well, you've just taken someone against their will because they didn't want to go to the church. So, you've kidnapped. A criminal offence. Surely, as a church-going person, you would know right and wrong because it's taught to you week in, week out. It's kind of the message of why you're going to church. What went wrong? Did you just not listen? That's just wrong. But anyway, that's not really what I wanted to talk about today. It's just something that came up and I thought I had to mention it. What I want to talk about instead is David Cameron's statement today that life should mean life in terms of sentencing. So murderers and other very serious criminals could end up with very long sentences because the European Court of Human Rights, which I have to point out to anyone who gets confused, and there are a few people that rant and rave at me when I'm talking about this sort of thing, I get confused. And this is not part of the European Union. The European Court of Human Rights is a separate thing. We helped create this document, the European Convention on Human Rights, which 44 countries have signed up to. And we did it based a lot on our Bill of Rights and Magna Carta and things like that. It's really is just British through and through. It's not part of the European Union, it's separate. But the European Court of Human Rights has said that currently British sentencing of whole life tariffs, basically you're locked up until you die, is not going to work out very well in terms of human rights because you can't have room in that sort of whole life tariff for someone to come along and review the sentence. So this is something that has to change, and it looks like it's going to change. We're going to stick to our principles of you're so dangerous, you should be locked up forever, but we're going to allow for a sentence review. So instead of whole life tariffs, sentences are going to be like, oh, you've got 100 years, or a couple of 100 years even if you've done a lot of bad things. And to be honest with you, I don't see a problem with this. Now there's a lot of people that are saying all kinds of problems, like this is just trying to get around the European Court of Human Rights. Maybe it is, but at the same time, there is a reason a lot of people that are very dangerous are locked up forever. And that is because the judge has been convinced that they're without the capacity to change. They've done something so bad that they have to go away for life. So I agree with the idea of whole life tariffs to an extent. I agree that there has to be room for mistakes to have been made and sentences to be reviewed. And I also agree that people can change. Even the worst people can change. Most of the time they don't, but they can. There's a potential there. So it's got to be room for manoeuvrability and adapting to changing circumstances and people reforming and things like that. But at the same time, these people have to go away for a long time because of the seriousness of their crimes. So bringing in long sentences, I don't see that as a problem. There's an argument that it's cruel and unusual punishment. How is it cruel and unusual punishment to lock up someone for a very long time when they've done something very, very wrong? If that's now cruel and unusual to say you've got 100 years, so your chance of probation comes a long way away, that's just getting around to problems that we have with probation system, surely. What would you prefer? We've got 50-year lifespan, but you might live till you're 70. You've just committed this crime when you were 18, so you still get out. It's not a life sentence then, is it? So there has to be a long sentence there to adapt to the fact that people live longer and longer. But anyway, that's really all I've got to say on this subject today. So if you have a different opinion, or even if you have a similar opinion, let's have a talk about it in the comments. Maybe we can get a discussion going. But for the moment, thank you very much for watching. If you did like this, remember to click the like button, share it with your friends so that they can take part in the debate as well, and do subscribe for future videos because there will be more in the future. But until next time, I've been Kirk-Robinson, you've been watching The Knob Mouse Show, and I'll see you tomorrow.